Why do I blame myself for the breakup? Do you ever blame yourself for the terrible split from the toxic ex? Or do you ever second guess yourself, but yet they take no responsibility? It can be very confusing in the fallout, to say the least. But it's really important to understand that self-blame isn't the absolute truth. Self-blame is a trauma response. One of the most painful stages of healing after narcissistic abuse is not the anger at the dreadful betrayals of the toxic ex, it's the anger that we may turn on ourselves. And I know this is something that I went through. It's a kind of stage of healing. The endless replaying of things like, how did I not see this? Why did I stay? And what's wrong with me? If this is happening for you, I want you to know something really important. Self-blame feels like it's logical, but this isn't accurate. In fact, it's not your fault. Hello, I'm Sarah. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist and transformation coach. I help midlife women get their confidence and radiance back after divorce, no matter what has happened in the past. If you can listen to the end of this video, you'll gain valuable awareness on this issue, which will help you get your freedom from this toxic cycle. If you are in some way blaming yourself for the abuse that you suffered, please understand that this is how the nervous system tries to regain control after abusive events. They were overwhelming, senseless and confusing. There's no bar low enough for perpetrators. They do what they think they can get away with. And then the belief that if I caused it, then maybe I can prevent it next time. And that belief can feel safer than accepting the truth. That you were harmed by someone who was deceptive, manipulative and unsafe. Does this resonate? When this happened to me, I was replaying the belief that there must be something really wrong with me, or some other variation of that. Before we go further, let's just slow down a little bit, take a minute to anchor into a sense of safety, just in case you're finding this a little bit triggering. If you have a visualization of a safe space or a sanctuary, then now is a good time to feel the peace and safety of that. So it's a good time to pause the video. And then as we explore a little further, remember the idea is not to overwhelm our nervous system, but to tap into our own self-support at challenging times. If you would like ongoing support on your healing journey, then why not join my free support group? There's a link in the comments. Self-blame often appears possibly at a stage where grief hasn't yet come to the surface. In other words, self-blame is part of the healing process. So instead of letting that grief move through, the mind is trying to solve the pain by attacking the self. But self-blame and self-recrimination doesn't heal. Understanding and awareness does. Moving forward beyond self-blame requires achieving a level of acceptance of what happened to you, and to understand deeply that you are not responsible for others' appalling behaviour and abuse. That is the absolute truth. However, it's important to understand that you made the best decisions you could with the information and understanding and the nervous system state you had at the time. And if you're not sure about the last part, just check back with yourself and remember how emotionally dysregulated and untethered you were for most of the time in the marriage. When you understand these aspects, you can really begin to offer yourself compassion and understanding. And when this begins to happen, you will find that reaching a level of acceptance of what happened, however appalling and heinous, it will help get your healing journey well underway. You will be a bit closer to emotional freedom from this toxic cycle. I accept it's hard to have experienced the appalling injustices and betrayals at the hands of this person. But in letting go, you free yourself from it and healing can begin. You weren't the perpetrator. You've got the rest of your life to live, and it's time to focus on what you want in life now with a sense of optimism. For the record, if you are wondering how they got away with it, the truth is they haven't. Their energy and life is forever altered for the worse, whether they are aware of it or not. Toxic people continue to live unhappy lives. That's the truth. And you can leave it at that. That is your closure. Healing begins when you stop interrogating yourself and start asking different questions. For example, what was I trying to get or protect by staying? That question opens up compassion. Contemplate it with a journal or with meditation. Find your compassion, and in turn, that will help you create a release. This takes your healing to the next level. If you have found this video helpful, then why not like and subscribe to, and YouTube will be able to share it with more people who will benefit and get their amazing lives back after a toxic divorce. Thanks for joining me in this video today, and I am looking forward to seeing you in the next one.